Frankoma Pottery Value Guide and More, 1933 to present. This book was published in 1993. She had actually started it probably in about 1991, but that was during a really wild time at the Frankoma Pottery, and that was around the time that they were really having financial problems. They were having tough times and knew they had tough decisions to make. And before this book came out, they had actually sold the pottery, and at that time John East was still with them working for the pottery. But so anyway, she never really got around to doing the advertising book, but she provided us with 3 great books that are just A to Z about Frankoma pottery. I said she planned to write the other book, but that really, I think her health started declining as well. And so just October of 2021, Sue passed away. And a good friend and collector friend of ours, Benny Beery, where'd you end up? Benny Beery knows Sue's daughter, Patty, and she contacted him about her mom's collection. Benny has since acquired that collection, so he's selling Sue's pieces. He also has the blue book, the first book, and he'll have some of those if anyone's interested. Tonight, tomorrow, so he'll be set up tomorrow, and that'd be a good book to take advantage of. You know, she realized after she wrote this first one that she hadn't scratched the surface, but this talks mostly about the limited editions. And if you know much about Frankoma, you know they did a lot of limited edition pieces. So this is a great book for a beginner or intermediate or a seasoned collector. Even though it's been years ago, these are really still good reference guides. Next, I'm going to talk about Frankoma Treasures, which was written by Phyllis and Tom Bess. This was published in 1983, and I have to say, in our early days of collecting, this was definitely a treasure. This book, we got our first glimpses in this book of Frank Pottery's pieces, and oh my gosh, I mean, and there's colored pictures. Again, she goes into great detail about the glaze colors, the clay colors, the various marks. We were like sponges at the time. We were soaking up everything we could about all of this. And it was like, after seeing all the Frank Pottery pieces, you know, we were on the hunt to find, you know, it was just, yeah, we wanted to find the treasures. But it was like, if we were by chance at the right place at the right time and we saw the right piece, we were going to know it when we saw it. And over the years, we've been fortunate. We have found some. After that, in 1995, man, Frankoma and Other Oklahoma Potteries by Phyllis and Tom Bess. And this book, wow, the color pictures, the beautiful pottery, it really got us fired up about collecting Frankoma. And we took it with us wherever we went, and we went a lot. The good thing too in this book was that it's Frankoma and Other Oklahoma Potteries. So she goes through, she talks about Sinar, Tamac, just a bunch of different Oklahoma potteries. So this book really took us to a whole nother level, we felt like. And I remember we'd go to the Tulsa flea market, and on some occasions, Phyllis would be set up, and I was just in awe. And so we'd go over and we'd bend her ear, pick her brain a little bit, and then we'd always end up going home with some of her pieces. So that was always such a treat. At this time, though, I'd like to ask Phyllis Bess Plunkett to come up and share a few things about her book. Or if you want to speak from there, Phyllis, that's fine.
Before I start, I would like to ask all of you to think back into your life to see how early and at the different times and places you saw God working in your life. At this point in our life, Coy and I, we're 83, and we know that nothing happens that's coincidental. God always has and wants to have part of your life. My story began back in 1948 in the summer. Can everyone hear me? I had gone to my grandmother's to spend the summer. And she informed me that while I was there, she was going to start me a hope chest. And I said, what in the world is a hope chest? And she said, she told me what it was, and I said, oh, Grandma, I'm too young for that. Oh, I'm only 8 years old. And she laughed, and I remember her laughing at me and saying, that's the whole point of it. By the time you get old enough to get married, I will have everything you need in that hope chest to start homemaking. So off to the Goodwill we went. We went. And I, at times, got so irritated. I thought, I'd rather be out in the backyard playing in that sandbox with the dog than going to the Goodwill. But sure enough, by the time I was old enough to get married, I had practically everything you would want to start homemaking. I had 2 sets of dinnerware. One of them was hand-painted roosters, and you may remember it, Shirley, Cock of the Walk. And that was for every day. Then I had a second set that was for more special meals. That was called Blue Willow. And I don't think Grandma or I, neither one at the time, realized what was happening to my life. But she was introducing me to the wonderful world of collecting. And that's where it began. I don't mean to be emotional, but something happened earlier that. Anyway, by the time I got married, then I started homemaking. Well, there was not enough money to go out and for me to buy collectibles. But that was always in my heart. I wanted to add to my Blue Willow collection. So, when we did begin to get enough, I started going to the Tulsa Flea Market. And while there, I got turned on to the original Fiesta dinnerware. And I ended up having over 500 pieces of the original that was just, and I was very particular. I picked out pieces, there was no scratching, no problems with it. And I ended up just having a ball collecting that. Then I went to Hall's China Autumn Leaf, that's better known as the Joti dishes, and had sets of those. I ended up just collecting every kind of dinnerware you could imagine. I had 12 sets, and that was too much. But anyway, by the time I got to where I feel like there was nothing left for me to collect, I was out to Tulsa Flea Market, and I found a little miniature horse. And I thought, could this be Frankoma? And it really, I got so excited, I thought, I'll start collecting Frankoma. Because all I'd known was the wagon wheel dinnerware. And I got excited over those little animals. So after I started collecting that, I had quite a few. One night, in 1979, I woke up about 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if any of you heard me tell you this, but I have shared it in the past, but the Lord woke me up and I didn't know it. And as I was drifting off to sleep, go back to sleep, I heard him tell me, you will write a book on Frankoma pottery, and it will bring glory to Jesus. And I was terrified. And I didn't know whether to run and hide or to act like I hadn't heard him. And so I just finally thought, okay. I argued with him a while, told him all the reasons why I couldn't do it. And then I remembered Jonah. And I thought, oh my, I don't want that to happen. So I quickly changed my attitude. And so, I told him, I said, I need your help. I know nothing about writing a book. So I'll need your help. And of course, he told me he would, so. Anyway, I started going to garage sales, which I'd never gone to before. Started going to different antique malls and going to, the thrift stores that, other than the Goodwill. I was very familiar with the Goodwill. And so I enjoyed that, and after I had accumulated quite a few Frankoma pieces, I called Johnny's and went to see her and told her what had happened. And she said, I will help you any way I can. And she did tell me about Susan's book that she had written, was at the time writing one. Well, when I had visited Johnny's, I had these 2 little Frankoma ponies, and I knew the little miniatures. I knew by one of them in the prayer green that they matched that wagon wheel dinnerware, so it had to be Frankoma. So I took them to her and I said, one of them is red clay and the other one is tan. Why? And she didn't know why. We were both near the same age, so she was not in on the information about the clay change and all of that. She says, I don't know, that's weird. And I remember her sticking that horse to her tongue. And I said, what are you doing? And she said, to see if it's porous. She said, vitreous. She called it vitreous. She said, Frankoma is vitreous. And I said, oh. So anyway, through the next year or so, her and I learned together a lot of these things through my researching of the clays and the glazes and all of that. And I met Grace Lee, and she was wonderful. She had information from all those early years that Johnny's didn't have and were not available from anybody else. So she helped me tremendously and told me I was welcome to all of her Frankoma there in the house, and I could take it and photograph it. Anything I wanted, just help myself, which I did. And one day when we were talking, she asked me, what are you gonna name your book? And I said, I, on the cover, see a picture of a chest or a trunk just overflowing with Frankoma pottery. And I said, I'm thinking something like Frankoma treasure chest or something like that. And she said, why not just name it Frankoma Treasures? And I said, I like that, you just named it. So she named that book. And while in the back of my mind, I kept thinking, the Lord said it would bring glory to Jesus. How? How is it possible for this book on pottery to bring glory to Jesus? Then one day, as I was typing on the manuscript, I had reached the part where I was going to show you what It's the first Christmas card that Grace Lee had. The one that depicts the hand of God feeding a bird, a little bird. And as I was typing that information, I heard the Lord say, you remember in my word where I mentioned that I feed the birds of the air, but how much more important man is? And I said, yes. And he said, put that right there. Well, that answered my question. It was going to be bringing him glory because I was supposed to put the word in there. So I went back through the manuscript and added scriptures where they were applicable. So that's how that that's why I did that. Also, my pastor at the time, Billy Joe Doherty, had given a prophetic word, and the Lord impressed on me to put that prophetic word in the back of the book, along with the prayer of salvation. So I told you this story to let you know that book was not my idea. I would never have done it. But it was the idea of the one who loves us all. And he helped me do it. Johnny's helped me do it. Grace Lee helped me do it. And Leon and Thomas and others that I can't mention all of you, but helped me. And in asking you to look back on your life to see where you can find where God worked in your life. That is why I wanted to share this with you. Because he works in all of our lives. And if we'll look, we can see how he has guided our footsteps. Now the second book was more of my idea. I had received a call from Schiffer, and he had asked me if I would do a book for him to publish on Frankoma. And I told him I'd rather not. And I said, I feel like I covered that. But I said, I may be interested in a book that covers other Oklahoma pottery. And I said, I have found several things that have really piqued my interest, and I would like to know more about them. So he went for that. He said, do it. So I didn't think I was gonna include Frankoma, but because of the success of the Frankoma Treasures book, I decided to name it Frankoma and Other Oklahoma Potteries. So that is what I wanted you all to know about, because very few of you know it. And with that said, Marianne, I turn it back to you.
Thank you, Phyllis. That was wonderful. And when I say that it was Frankoma and Other Oklahoma Potteries, Tamac Pottery from Perry, Oklahoma, Hammett Originals, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Wine Art, Win Art, I don't know what you call it. I
Win Art.
see Miami. I know that's Miami. Sequoia Pottery, National Youth Administration or NYA Pottery, Sinar Ceramics out of Muskogee, Greystone Pottery, Creek Pottery, Cherokee Pottery, and then she even talks about just other Oklahoma artists. So excellent reading. And by the way, Phyllis will have copies of her books tonight and tomorrow. So keep that in mind. Thank you again, Phyllis, for sharing. There was not really a book, a guide, numerical listing for the first 50 years, Frankoma Pottery, 1933 through 1983, and this was compiled by Maxine and Howard Sadler. They were collectors, and she decided that this would be a handy book to take along. You could mark off, tick, or highlight the pieces as you found them, but it was in numerical order. The pottery, the piece, the number, the description, and I don't know, we ended up with this somewhere along the way, and it's just another great reference guide. I don't know how much they were actually out there. You know, the Sue Cox and Phyllis, those were actually published and they were out there for people to buy. I don't know about this one, but I know
I
it's.
don't think Maxine did that for him. She, shared it with the club and the people that, when they came, they lived in Ohio.
Yep.
And she,
Well, and she did say that some pieces of Frankoma don't have the name or number. This you'll find when the piece is too small. Collector's Guide to Frankoma, books 1 and 2 by Susan Cox, and Frankoma Treasures by Phyllis and Tom Bess are excellent books that will show pictures and give descriptions to help you identify the Frankoma pottery. So this was a good resource. Next I've got the Collector's Guide to Frankoma Pottery, 1933 through 1990, identifying your collection including Gracetown. This is one of Gary Schaum's books, and this book was published in 1997 originally. He's actually, if I'm saying this correctly, we've got 3 different ones. We've got the pink, the purple, and the yellow.
Wait. Your husband's got one.
But wait, there's more.
Just arrived yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah, Dennis has had this republished, so, and I think you're gonna have it at the factory,
At the store.
at the store tomorrow. So this is now available. You got 3 versions of Gary's, and then this is the newest version.
Is it different?
I don't think so.
Not very, just a few minor details that Gary and I know about. But the old copies are not available if Gary believes, so.
They're gone. They're out there maybe in the
This is a new
wild,
opportunity for a new.
as we say.
I've seen a couple in the wild.
Yeah. So Gary started collecting, if I'm correct, at about the age of 14. And he graduated from OSU with a horticulture degree. And he talked with John East about creating a series of orchid mugs. So some of you may have some orchid mugs. They were produced for 3 years, starting in 1980 until 1983 when the factory fire occurred. And then I was gonna say that there's at least 3 editions and maybe a 4th on its way. So now we know the 4th is on its way. So any questions for Gary? Gary's gonna be here today and tomorrow.
Me, I don't really like to talk.
But if you get him started.
I can't do a song and dance. But yeah, if you have any questions, I'll entertain them.
Gary's books were really just a great comprehensive
Gary, there's some.
guide.
What's that?
I just wanted to clarify, are you saying orchid, like the flower mug?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I was an orchid grower.
Yeah.
So, and that's how they knew me at the Frankoma plant. The orchid man is coming, everybody knew me as the orchid man. Cause I took them orchids. Yeah.
So each year though, at least those 3 years, it was a different variety of orchid and a different color. So those are good mugs. So that brings me to the reference guide to Frankoma pottery, also known as the McBain Frankoma book. This was what I had from a good while back. It's basically similar to Maxine Sadler's in that it's kind of in numerical order, and then you've got information on the number, a description, the years that it was made, kind of a low range, high range price guide, and then references. So he referenced the McBains, Bob and Vicki McBain, who are right here with us tonight also. They've expanded on this over the years, and it just got better and better and better. But Bob has said that he basically compiled it through information from the other books, knowing the numbers, the pieces, the years, all of that stuff. So they've just done a lot of research and provided this guide. It morphed into, this is my version of it, a guide with actual colored pictures of each, and they're still in numerical order. This is great if you know the number and you can just flip to it. So Vicki has printed one that's a larger version for those that kind of need the larger print. But the cool thing about this book actually was never officially published, but it's been available to us since, I know, before 2007. I don't know when you actually first started.
2001 is when I first started, the very first one.
Okay, I'm getting there.
Those
Ken.
are available.
I'm getting there.
Ken,
So, it has been made available since at least 2007 to Frankoma collectors in one form or another. But since 2007, the guide includes colored pictures of the items as well. At this time, due to the generosity of Bob and Vicki McBain and the never-ending work of Ken Wickham and Diana, this book is available free of charge to subscribers of the website frankomacollectors.org. So once you subscribe, you can reference it or download it anytime, but be sure and thank all of them for that. The thing about that frankomacollectors.org, if you haven't already subscribed to that, all of the presentations that we've done here, they're there to see if you go to that site. There's a memorial to John East. There's a memorial tribute that we did for Donna. Those are there. Gib Green years ago did a color presentation on colors and glazes, and that's on there. So in addition to Bob and Vicki's guide, there's just a plethora of information. Appreciation to the Wickhams for going out and spending their time and effort so that we can keep this information flowing, because with everything being electronic now, you may not go out and buy books like you once did because you can just go online and look it up, but these are, I'll always love books. I will always love books. We keep a batch of them that anytime we're going down the road.
You might, Ken also has that on an ebook.
There is an ebook.
It's you can buy it on eBay as it's a ebook version of the yellow edition, and also the McBain reference is available to download free from the website also. So there are two McBain books on there that you can get free. And if I may, the video that Gib and Steve did is a 45-minute color video that you can view, and you can even download it if you want to. It's massive. It's 45 minutes long, and it's free.
There is so much at your fingertips on the website. It's awesome, and we
there's more to
appreciate your
come, by the
efforts.
way.
Well, it's all the time. It's ever expanding, so that's great. Ken has some cards, I'm sure, if anybody's interested, but it's frankomacollectors.org. So I recommend it all. I'll just put it that way. So thank you all. McBain's, anything you want to say? I think Bob's gonna add a little bit.
I just want to thank everybody, because like I said, Phyllis was talking about this, something struck me. I was always into numbers. When we started getting collecting, I had no idea what there was, what the value was, colors, years made, or anything else. I started out with Susan Cox's price guide, Maxine Sadler's format. That's what I ended up with. It's an Excel format. You can download it, use it to how you want. But again, without everybody's help, this wouldn't have happened. I put in all the pot and pumas, so if there's reference to pieces, it's referenced in here. A lot of valuable information here. You know, there's just lots and lots of it out there. And I would recommend to anybody to go out to the website and get it. It's free, you know, use it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and I'll tell you right now, there's mistakes in this.
Oh, yeah.
I try to do the best I can, but I even found a piece on the way down that everybody says it was not made after the fire in '38. And I got a piece that's got a 42 mark on it.
Yeah.
And it was never made after '38. Guess what? It happens all the time, so.
Yeah, yeah. If you've been around Frankoma much at all, you know that over the years, probably all of these books probably have information that as time went by, we realized, well, it wasn't just made during that time period, or it wasn't just made in Ada clay, or whatever. I mean, there's just all sorts of variations that we find and continue to find, and probably will
Yes.
always continue to find. There's also the Frankoma Pottery catalogs that they put out for years. You know, sometimes we were at an auction years ago and there was just a bunch of these and they were still in the sleeves, and yeah, auctions are good sometimes. But anyway, happy collecting.
One more thing I'd like to add, that McBain reference and price guide is an excellent way for you to inventory your collection for insurance purposes or
Absolutely.
just to know what you have. And it's on there, it's digital, you can publish it or whatever you wanna do with it, it's free.
And I should add to that and say, if anybody has any questions or anything for Phyllis, for Bob, Vicky, Gary, that's what we're here for. It's like Randy said, you know, it's educational for all of us. We're all still learning. And for anybody who's recently started collecting, those that have been collecting for a long, long time are happy to share knowledge and information and stories. So just keep it going.
Amen.
Marianne, there is one, I think, I don't think you've mentioned it, very important website, the FrankomaCollector.com by Alan Manuel. It's got all the catalogs, and I think he claims he has all the salt and pepper shakers shown and other things too. So if you want to see the catalogs, this is great.
And I think too, there's probably some links
There's a
on
link on there.
FrankomaCollectors.org, links to those different sites. But yeah, thank you,
And all
Dennis,
the
for
Pot
mentioning.
Puma magazines are on there, well, not all of them, but a lot of them.
There's a world of information out there on Frankoma Pottery.
And
So,
that site is incredible on information on salt and peppers. It is absolutely.
Well,
Thank you.
Alan Manuel was started out as a salt and pepper set collector. His mom had started it earlier in life, and I think they ended up with like thousands of sets.
A garage full, I think.
Seriously.
But before we kind of break up a little bit, any questions for any of these folks? Now's your chance.
Hey, can I do one more thing?
Yeah.
This is a bit of advertising, if you don't mind.
Come on up. Dennis
Yeah.
Blacktop is the owner of Frankoma Pottery, and
Okay, so today we launched our new tiki items. We launched 4 different colors. This is one of them. I thought I'd bring it, and we sold almost everything except for some of the white ones between people coming in the store and phone calls. So those have done real well, and we're doing 4 more new colors tomorrow. So if you want interested in one of our tikis, that'd be great. We're also going to have the books, as we showed you there. Those just came in yesterday. We got some other items that have Frankoma on them as well, so maybe some baseball caps. We got t-shirts and tote bags and things like that too. So if you just come in the store, you get to see things like that.
does everyone know where it is?
No, where's it
Go ahead.
Okay, it's at Highway 75 at 171st Street. It's on the south side of Glenpool. It's on the southeast corner. The official address is 17117 South Union Avenue. Basically, drive down Highway 75 until you go past the main part of Glenpool, and you'll see 171st Street, and we're on the southeast corner of that. From here, it's about 15 minutes. It's very close to that car dealership. Was it Mark?
Mark Allen.
Allen, yeah, just like a mile south of it.
Beautiful new building.
What are your hours?
10:30 to 4.
Every day?
Every day except Sunday.
Sunday, okay.
But if you see an old beat up 2003 pickup truck there, I'm there, so drop in. All right? Thanks, Dennis. Thank you.
Any questions? Now's your chance. You can't catch Gary very often. Okay, well, thanks, everybody. We're gonna take a break. You're welcome to put your stuff out on the table. Boy's gonna put out the silent auction stuff right over here. So, if y'all enjoy.